Ba-da-ba! How we doing, everybody? Sam here, live on United People's TV. As you can see, it looks pretty similar, I know, but it's not the same. I have moved house this weekend. It's been a busy few days for me. It's been a busy few days for everything non-Manchester United, whilst also involving all of Manchester United's players. Raphael Varane's injury for France, that's the main talking point. That's the main concern that we've got after a busy few days in the international break. We're talking about Raphael Varane this morning. We're talking about Paul Pogba this morning and a fantastic performance from him against Spain in the final. We're talking about Jadon Sancho. We're talking about Scott McTominay, about Harry Maguire, about Dr. Rashford, MBE, about Jesse Lingard, about Eric Bailly. Oh my God, there are so many different talking points. So as always, this is going to be a big one. It's going to be a big show. It's going to be a busy show. It's going to be a long show. So make sure you fire in your comments. If you're watching on Facebook, if you're watching on YouTube, I hope there's no problems this morning. I've got everything set up as I think should be set up. I'll tell you what, it took goddamn ages. But I've got a new sofa being delivered during the week. I've got artwork that's going to go on the wall. You can't see it. It's hiding behind there. It's beautiful. It's all going to be sexy. Don't worry. As I said, United People's TV going onwards and upwards. As I said, anything that you've given to the channel is going to be put back into making the channel bigger and better. Let me go down to the comments I can see. Oh, how you doing, buddy? Nice to see you after a few days where you decided to work instead of staying here on the stream, which I think is really quite unfair. Josh, I can see you there this morning. Looking there, beautiful. Rejoining as a UPTV legend, just like you said you would, Josh. As always, I can see Takeoff down there, Push. I can see Thomas. I can see Anuj. I can see everyone. Thank you very much for the comments on the street. Honestly, it's going to be a lot better. It's a little bit too dark around here. I've got the lights too close to me here. It's all going to be a little bit of a staging process because it was quite difficult. But let's go and let's talk. Let's not get too excited about this one, actually. This is about Raphael Varane. Raphael Varane, obviously, yesterday there, all smiles with his medal in his hand. And it was good to see France winning yesterday. Paul Pogba, Anthony Martial, and Raphael Varane all getting medals. Lovely jubbly. But Raphael Varane went off injured against Spain. He went off in, I think, about the 43rd minute, and there are concerns about his injury. How long will Raphael Varane be out injured for? Now, the consensus that we're seeing so far is it's not going to be the end of the world. It's not going to be the end of the world. He went off. He's sort of like holding his groin in, sort of holding his groin. By the way, terrible timing. Some bloke is outside trying to cut a bush. Arsehole. You don't know that United People's TV is live right now. This is the problem when you move house. You don't know what's going to be going on. That's happening. Anyway, hopefully he can piss off at some point soon. Anyway, so the reports coming out from yesterday is that Raphael Varane is likely to have an adductor tear injury. Return time would typically be 1 to 2 weeks if it's a grade 1 injury. Obviously, if it's grade 2, a little bit more. Grade 3, well, that can require surgery. So hopefully it's not grade 2 or grade 3, because if it's grade 1, it means that he's probably going to miss the Leicester game. That probably means he misses the Atalanta game, and maybe he'll be back for the Liverpool game. I don't know. We definitely need Raphael Varane for Liverpool. I'll tell you that. What do you are you worried about that? What's your concerns? Obviously, we've got Harry Maguire out at the moment, and obviously our defense has not particularly been very good. So you've got Maguire, who's been out for a few weeks. I think he'll probably be fit to come back against Leicester. If Maguire's not fit to face Leicester, I'd say he definitely is going to be back for Liverpool. But, you know, when it rains, it pours, eh? When it rains, it pours. And Manchester United right now, we've got massive issues. We've got massive issues at the club. You saw, obviously, all of you watched my video yesterday when I tried to take a little bit of a look at the problems that Manchester United have. And I tried to sort of speak about things that Solskjaer can do to fix them. Because I look in the comments every single day. I don't have arguments, but sort of there's so many of you that are really sort of you're finished with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. But the fact of the matter is he's not going to be sacked right now. And this is the thing that I don't see the point of wasting your negative energy on something that is not going to happen. No matter how angry you get, no matter how pissed off you get, no matter how many times you say it and shout it, Ole is not going to be sacked right now. So why focus on that and instead focus on, okay, right, let's talk about things that maybe we can improve. And a lot of people are like, nah, man, I'm completely done. I'm completely done. I'm not. And the owners aren't. Glazers aren't. A lot of the fans aren't. A lot of match going, maybe it's a bit of a different support feeling inside the match going fans as it is online. I don't know whether that split actually really exists. But there's no point focusing your negative energy on that, all right? You really are wasting your time. That's the way I look at it with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and the feeling, the sentiment towards Ole out. Chris, good morning. How you seeing there? If everyone can see the issues, surely Ole can and his coaches can too. Why aren't they doing anything about it? Or are they? Why aren't they telling us? Well, Chris, there's one thing that they absolutely won't do. They won't tell us what they're doing behind the scenes. Training is for training. Training is between the coaches and it is between the players. And anything that they are doing to improve their problems, they won't be telling any of us, obviously, because that would then tell our opponents what we're doing. But yeah, what you're saying there is spot on. Surely, the coaches can see the issues that we can see. That's my concern is that these issues have existed for far too long now, defensively, in midfield. There's just been problems that we've seen that have been there for a long time that sort of keep repeating. We talk about our defensive shape. Even after Raphael Varane came in, the defensive shape somehow got a bit worse. Midfield, Freddie McTominay doesn't work. It's not keeping clean sheets anymore. You can't justify playing two holding midfielders if you're conceding every single game. But they still play. That's where the concerns are. That's where the problems are. That's why I was confused, really, about why Mike Phelan was given a contract extension. Although, if you're thinking about it, it's not as if we decided in the last couple of weeks that Mike Phelan was getting a contract extension. That was probably going on for a long time. It so happened to be announced now. We're in talks, apparently, with Michael Carrick and Kieran McKenna about two contract extensions there. I don't know. Look, the coaches, I point to it a lot. The coaches are a huge problem at Manchester United. A huge problem. Nick, nice to see you this morning, my friend. Lindelof or Bailly, Sam? I'd like Eric for a change. Not a chance, in my own opinion. Lindelof, seeing as we're speaking about Lindelof, I may as well pull this one up. We'll say a big congratulations to Lindelof and Maya. Yeah, Maya. They've had a second child. Only two more to catch up with all now. The man who's pumped out 4 children. Well, he hasn't actually pumped out. He's pumped in 4 children. But congratulations to you, Victor and Maya. Second child. Beautiful for them. But no, I think Lindelof will definitely be... We don't know the situation for Harry Maguire at the moment. I personally think that Harry Maguire will be fit to play against Leicester, especially if Raphael Varane is injured. I think he will... He will... Jeez. My mind is gone. I want to get this set up perfect. I'm a bit annoyed. What do you think about it, by the way, ladies and gents? I know it looks a bit similar at the moment, but I've got a lovely new velvet green sofa coming in. I've got some artwork that's going to go on the wall above it and below it. I need to sort the lighting out a bit. It's going to be lovely. It's going to be lovely. But look, in my opinion, I think Lindelof's going to go straight back into that. Not straight back into that team, but Lindelof is the first choice backup to both Varane and Maguire. And I've always maintained it. Varane is a fantastic top-level defender. Maguire is a top-level defender. But Lindelof is by far and away the best backup that we have at our club. For sure. For sure, he's the best backup. Eric Bailly is just, well, it's Eric Bailly. You know that. You know that by now. And you just can't rely on him, unfortunately. And we all know that even if we got Eric Bailly back in the team, even if Eric Bailly had a couple of good games, he would do some mad stuff. And it would be really quite annoying. Everyone's asking where the microphone is. You can't see it, but it's just there, just off screen. Because I need to sort a new microphone stand because the one I had previously doesn't work now. I need to sort a new tripod for that. It's all right. It's all right. It'll get done in time. But let's talk about, we're sitting here talking about negatives, right? We're talking about how Varane is going to be missing for a couple of weeks. With any muscular injury, the absolute minimum is always 2 weeks because you just don't know how bad it is. You don't know the severity of it. You have to let it sort of settle before you throw, you might risk further injury. So Varane's definitely going to miss Leicester for sure. And in my opinion, I think he'll miss Atalanta. The first game we'll probably get Varane back for is Liverpool. And that will be risky, really. depending on how big the injury is. Depending on how big it is. Thomas, good to see you this morning, my friend. Tchouaméni should be a new signing. He should be a nice signing. He played good beside Pogba, and he's young. And him behind Pogba in front of Varane. French cocktail. What is a French cocktail? I don't know what a French cocktail is. But that was certainly my next talking point. So let's get straight on to that. And as I said, there's not all negatives. It's not all negatives that we're talking about this morning, because Spain against France yesterday, as we can see, this is the 11 that played. Obviously, De Gea on the bench. Unai Simon is right now the number one for Spain. But in midfield, we saw Paul Pogba play alongside Tchouaméni, and Paul Pogba had another fantastic game. He really did have a strong tournament. We can see, I believe it's here. There you go, Pogba and Martial. Martial, I don't think he played at all against Spain in the final, did he? Let's have a look. Did he come off the bench? No, he didn't. Didn't make an appearance. He played a couple of times during the tournament, but he didn't make an appearance. But Paul Pogba, he was a crucial player for France during that entire tournament. And what we saw here, again, as we have seen when he plays for France on quite a few occasions, Paul Pogba is more than capable of playing inside a double pivot, right? Look at these stats. Look at that. Look at this performance that Paul Pogba had. 84% passes. Lovely. 16 ground. This is probably the most important 2 or 3 here. 16 ground duels contested, and he won 11 of them. That is a very important stat. Paul Pogba going into the tackles and winning the tackles with the duels. 5 attempted tackles, 3 successful. 6 dribbles, 6 successful. 2 clearances, 2 fouls, 1. Lovely. 2 shots, 1 chance created. Paul Pogba had a very, very impressive game in midfield alongside Tchouaméni. And the thing we've always known about Paul Pogba inside a double pivot, very partner dependent. Very, very partner dependent. I think if you were to play Paul Pogba alongside McTominay, I think that's something that quite a few of you want to see. You let me know what you think about that. I'm unsure whether that is something that would really, truly work, if I'm being completely honest. And I certainly feel the same about Fred and Paul Pogba. The one I want to see, the one that I think we all want to see, is Matic and Pogba. But Matic is just not fit enough. He's just too old. He's just a little bit too old. I don't think we'll ever really truly see Matic play week in, week out for Manchester United anymore. If Matic comes in, he'll play a game and then not play the next one. He'll sort of be rested and sort of brought in and brought out. And that makes it very difficult for you to get any sort of consistency in the midfield if you're permanently changing. But it's what I said all summer long. It's what I maintained at the start of the season. And it's something that we've all known. Hell, look, you know that me wanting to sign a midfielder is not, I'm not just joining the bandwagon now. I've maintained it from the very beginning of the summer that it was the single most important signing that we needed to make. And we didn't make it. And now all the conversations are about our midfield. Not all of them, because our defense is shit as well, but they all stem from the midfield. Our defense would be a lot stronger if we had a far stronger midfield, because they wouldn't be attacked so much from the middle. But because we're sort of leaking chances at the moment, that Varane and Maguire are getting like ran at from straight on. They're getting ran at from the fullbacks. They're just getting exposed, really. But Paul Pogba, you let me know what you think about this in the comments below. Paul Pogba, do you really genuinely think that he just cannot work as a double pivot midfielder for Manchester United? Do you think it's just impossible? Because I don't. I absolutely don't. And I constantly see it for France. We all do. We're all like, Jesus, man, Paul Pogba's good when he plays for France. And it's not as if he's terrible when he plays for Manchester United, right? That's not true. That's not true whatsoever. But he just has a different level with France, doesn't he? He just goes, he just cranks it up a notch. But do you think that Paul Pogba is capable of playing like that in a double pivot for Manchester United? Let me see down here. Klein, how you doing this morning, buddy? Nice to see you. I think we should start Matic and Pogba permanently and sub him off in the 50th or 60th minute. Anuj, feeling very hilarious this morning. Remind me that we got Phil Jones. No one needs that sort of negativity on a Monday morning, my friend. Or you're saying he can? Absolutely. No, try it, says Kyle. Let's have a look. He can play there. Playing with Matic or a semi-competent DM, he can. If we can get a quality DM, he can play there. But, I mean, you're all saying the same thing. It's all partner dependent. Paul Pogba, man, can... And I keep saying this as well. As soon as Rashford's back, and I think Rashford's by the look of it... Oh, sorry. Dr. Marcus Rashford, MBE. Get your letters right. He's going to be back, I think, to play Leicester, which means Paul Pogba is going to have to play in the midfield because Marcus Rashford will play out in that left wing, which is a position that Paul Pogba has enjoyed occupying this season so far. But what we ideally need is that defensive midfielder so Paul Pogba can play on the left of the central midfield. That's his ideal position. That's his ideal position. He can't play if we play 6 at the back, says Chris. Look, Paul Pogba, I think... Paul, I think this is just completely wrong. Saying Paul Pogba doesn't do it for United. He absolutely does do it for United, man. He really does. He does find a level above. He goes from like a, I don't know, someone who's putting in like 6, 7 out of 10 to someone who's putting in like 8, 8.5 out of 10 for France. I think he still strikes me as a happier player playing with France, whether it's the French setup. By the way, France, very similar to United. Throughout the entire tournament, they didn't really play until they went 1-0 down. And then they were like, oh, we should actually start playing ball now. Did it again in the final, went 1-0 down, came from behind, 1-2-1. Amazing. But, oh, God. Oh, God. Big Nico's coming in with a straight comedy here. Lindelof, a CDM. You all know what I think about Lindelof, a CDM. That can get straight in the bin where it deserves, where it belongs. Lindelof's not going to play DM. Tchouaméni, he was linked with us during the summer. Not the only one. Camavinga, Neves. Jesus. Give me nightmares thinking about all these defensive midfielders we were linked with that we didn't sign. Because all of a sudden... No, it's not all of a sudden, is it? We all knew that we needed one. But for some reason, the club decided that we didn't need one. Now, someone else, if you're looking at defensive midfielders, of course, there's another name that gets banded around, a name that gets mentioned, and that is, of course, Sir Scott of McTominay, who during the weekend, Scotland drawing 2-2 with Israel at Hampden Park. Who pops up with a 94th minute winner? Scott McTominay does. And it's something that I've always maintained the entire way through with Scott McTominay. He's not a central midfielder. No, he's not a defensive midfielder, ladies and gentlemen. And he never, ever, in my opinion, will be. Because he's got the physicality, because there's certain attributes to his game that seem natural for a defensive midfielder. You can look at him and say, yeah, all right, I can understand why you were playing there. But as we saw against Villarreal, he doesn't have probably I would say the football IQ. It's a very, very difficult position to play. It really is. You have to cover so much ground at the same time as not really moving that much because you have to operate in that space where you sit in front of the back four and you allow the 2 central midfielders in front of you to go and enjoy themselves. You're basically the enabler. Your job is to not really do much whilst doing everything at the same time. Which kind of sounds like a weird thing to say. But it's a very technically quite a difficult position to play. You have to have a lot of football knowledge. You have to understand when to move forward, when to step back. And Scott McTominay's natural instinct is always to step forward, to go in aggressive on that tackle. But maybe sometimes as a defensive midfielder, like we saw maybe when Michael Carrick dropped in to play that role, you don't always have to lunge in for that tackle. Sometimes it's better to sit back and block that passing lane instead of going full steam in to try and win that tackle. Because if you miss it, someone plays a 1-2 round you leave a huge gap in behind. That's something that I've always said. I'm annoyed at Michael Carrick for not teaching Scott McTominay and Fred better. Because, yeah, both of them love lunging in. And that's why Fred always has more interceptions, more blocks. But they're just not as smart. They're just not completely as smart as they need to be inside that position. And that's my opinion. And that's always my opinion on Scott McTominay and why I always think that he's just not ever going to truly be that defensive midfielder that we need. Chris, nice to see you here this morning again, my friend. I believe Ole knew we needed a CDM and he's pushing the case with McFred and telling the board that's the best we've got. Fingers crossed for January. Now, January is obviously going to be something that we're all going to be hoping for, right? January is October, November, December. 3 months away. Jeez. 2-3 months away. And of course, in January, anything can happen. As we saw a couple of years ago, we signed Bruno Fernandes. So you can make big signings in January that can change the scope of your season. Because remember how Manchester United were playing before Bruno came in. Jeez, we were crap. And then Bruno came in and we were flying. We were absolutely flying. Now, it has to be Manchester United's job, real job, to make sure that, I don't know, by the time January comes around, that we're no more than like 6, 7 points away from Liverpool and City. Because if you let those two teams, they are running away. They will run away with it if we don't stop them. Chelsea, you can probably involve inside that as well. But if we're more than like 6, 7 points, it's going to be very difficult even for a central defensive midfielder to come in and change the scope of our season. We need to be staying there in and around by the time that January comes around. That so if we do go and sign one, they can make that sort of difference. But in my opinion, I don't think that McTominay is ever going to be that defensive midfielder for Manchester United. I think you can try him. You can try him if you want. But his best position is as a central midfielder who's allowed to go forward. He got, what, 7 goals last year? McTominay is a very good box-to-box midfielder. Don't task him with playing defensive midfield. Let me go down here and let me see how you're all doing in the comments, and I'll answer some of your questions. A prime Carrick, says Jason, would be, mate, a prime Carrick would be, I mean, if you're looking at prime Carrick, his position wasn't a central defensive midfielder. It was more of a central midfielder, probably alongside Paul Scholes. But he dropped into that position, and his football IQ was so unreal that he operated perfectly. He knew exactly when to move into one space and when to step back. His decision-making in that position was absolutely fantastic. And you're saying, Sam, we don't have anyone with the ability to control the space except Matic, and he isn't fast enough. He's not fast enough. He's absolutely spot on. And that's it. That's what it is. As a central defensive midfielder, you have to be able to play football without having the ball. Sounds odd. It is what it is, because you have to control that space. Your job is that big square in front of the back four and between the start of the centre circle. That's your part of the pitch that you have to just dominate and operate. And it's very difficult, especially when teams are on the counter-attack and you're there with 2 players rushing forward at you. What do? Do you lunge in, stop the ball? Do you sit back? When do you run forward? It's very difficult, because if you make mistakes in that particular position on the pitch, inevitably you're going to get chances created for the opposition. So it's a very unforgiving part of the pitch, which is why McTominay won't be allowed to learn on the job. He was allowed to learn on the job against Villarreal, and he got a rude awakening. And so did Manchester United, really. Luckily, Ronaldo came in, popped up and with a 94th minute winner for us there. But I just can't really see McTominay ever really working in that. I said at the start of the season, I said, out of all the midfielders that we have, I think McTominay is the most likely to be able to grow into that position. But I think I underestimated how much growth he needed, maybe. And Matic is the player that we all know can do that, but he's just too slow now. And that's what happens when you get older in football. Your legs get tired, your legs get stiffer. And then Matic cannot operate in that position now as dynamically as we need him to. It's a shame, honestly, man. If we had a Matic a Matic 5 years younger, we would not have any midfield issues at all. All going in vain without a CDM, says Sean. New name, I see you there. But you know, that's a feeling that a lot of people have. Some people are pointing towards Belgium yesterday. Was it yesterday or the day before? Whenever they got knocked out by France, actually, having gone ahead. They're saying that this Belgian team is like one of the best and one of the most talented Belgian squads in their history, and they're allowing it to rot under Roberto Martinez. And look at what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is doing with this Manchester United team. But bear in mind, this Manchester United team was built by Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. It was not one of the most talented squads until he signed these players. So this squad has been built by Solskjaer, right? So that's a bit of a difference. A couple of comments here firing in. I'm going to read your super chats out. How you doing? All nice to see you here. Matic has never been fast. He just reads the game well and knows when to drop pressure, take a yellow. It's about football IQ. And, mate, yeah, that's a fair point. Matic never really was like a top-level sprinter, was he? He was never somebody who would burst across the pitch. He would always make that space between where he needed to be and where he was as small as possible by positioning himself in the right way, by reading the game as it was coming towards him and saying, right, I need to be here. So by the time that the ball came to him, he didn't have to run 20, 30 yards to cover that space. He was in the right place at the right time. So he negated his own lack of speed by having a higher football IQ. You're spot on there, and that's completely right. And that's why I said it's so difficult for Scott McTominay to learn that. Because it's such a big, it's almost like a natural, like Marcus Rashford is a natural goal scorer. Mason Greenwood is a natural finisher. Scott McTominay naturally wants to run forward, naturally sees space and goes, oh, going to pelt into it. That's what his natural instinct is to do. So in these split-second decisions in central midfield, to not do that and to be thinking different, it's a very big flip of mindset and not something that he can do. And it's why Fred, when you watch Fred play in central midfield, he's constantly moving. He's constantly like, shit, here, because he doesn't have that football IQ to just be in the right position at the right time. But what he does have is a really big energy tank, and I think he's quite sharp over those first few yards. So he can cover the spaces that his football IQ makes him miss out on. And that's just something I don't think Scott McTominay will ever really do in that role. Thomas, I wish we can get someone in January, but if we don't sell, I don't see that we buy. I think we are all going for hard. We're going all in for Haaland next summer, but Tchouaméni can come. Tchouaméni is obviously someone that we're going to be linked with. Again, no problems there whatsoever. Tchouaméni, you can look at Ruben Neves. You can look at, well, I don't know, Ndidi if you want. You can look at, there's tons of players we're going to be linked with again. But yeah, the comments there, this is a really good conversation this morning there. It's about that football IQ. How do you teach that? You have people like Michael Carrick teaching you how to do it. And I said that's why I feel a little bit frustrated and annoyed with Michael Carrick, especially because of what I saw there from Scott McTominay against Villarreal. That wouldn't have been a last-minute decision out of nowhere to play McTominay there in the bottom of a midfield three with Bruno and Pogba in front of him. That would have been something that got worked on in training. And if Michael Carrick is a coach, what does a coach do? A coach sees somebody with talent and coaches them to be better at using that talent. They coach them to be better players. It's like what Fergie did with so many individuals, so many players. And what we saw there from McTominay against Villarreal was somebody who wasn't coached properly in that position, who was doing things that he shouldn't really have been doing, who was exposing himself by naturally running into the wrong places. That's something that Michael Carrick should be coaching out of him and should be coaching him to play differently. But at the same time as that, the counter argument is, how can you expect McTominay to really thrive in that position if you're going to play him as a single holding midfielder one week, and then the next week you're going to ask him to play as part of a double pivot, which is a completely different style of midfield play. So we're making it more difficult for all of our players, really. Let me go down to the comments here and see what's going on. Headless Chicken says, Jason, that's exactly what Fred is, for sure. Bad coaching, hence Van der Beek is not starting. Look, what do you think about the Van der Beek situation? I personally think he should be sold in January. I think he will be sold in January. I'll be surprised if he stays. He doesn't deserve the treatment he's getting. Not at all. Not at all. Character improved Fred a little, though. And it's something, as I keep referring to it, but the interview that I had with Fred, he said that Carrick was helping him a lot in terms of understanding that position on the pitch. And I think Fred does have a lot to his game. It's just that when you play Fred alongside McTominay, it's just, it just does not work. It just does not work. Matic was a 10 before he dropped, says all. So there's hope, but I'm not sure you can train Scott into a DM. Just my opinion, why has it taken 3 years? It's a good question, my friend. It really is. Because you would think if Scott McTominay really was going to be that player, that we would have seen him operate more as a defensive midfielder rather than just that Villarreal game, right? Maybe we would have used League Cup games. Maybe we would have used the FA Cup games last year. We would have seen it more. There would have been more opportunities for Scott to operate in that rather than, and let's be honest, a really fucking high pressure game. That Villarreal game, we all know how disciplined everyone's going to be under Unai Emery. That's one thing that they've absolutely got under Emery, whether or not you agree with a good coach. And Arsenal fans certainly won't. But they're a very disciplined team. They knew their shape very, very well. So to put Scott into that situation, it was tough for him. It really was tough. And it didn't work. So I'll be surprised if we saw it again, if I'm honest. Say the Jungle, how you doing there? You're right. Fred works way too hard and needs to be in smarter positions and play tactically. I always say it. It's a really important thing to understand in life. Working smart is not always necessarily working hard. But if you work smart and not hard, well, you can do both at the same time if you want. But if you are smarter, you don't have to work as hard because you don't have to, as I said, that's what Fred does. Instead of being in the right position at the right time, he's in the wrong position, but then has the energy and the dynamism to cover his ground and get back into that right position. But if he was in the right position in the first place, he wouldn't have to do that. Like Matic, as Orr said there, Matic really has rarely been a fast player. He's just been a smart player. Being a smart player. Jonathan, how you doing? Nice to see you there from Facebook, buddy. Let me get your comment up. Because Scott is a local and has been at the club since a boy, they are desperate for him to succeed, but don't see him ever as a DM. Waste of time trying to convert him. As Robbo says, he is a great box-to-box player. Yeah, if you didn't see that interview with Brian Robson's cracking little interview, he was speaking about Scott McTominay, and he's like, look, what Scott McTominay has to do now is focus on getting to like double-figure goals. That's what Robson wanted to see from him, and I think Robson's right. That's what you're going to see. And if you keep Scott McTominay as that sort of player, he is going to be a very good squad player for United for a good few years. McTominay will probably get 10-plus goals. Just don't try and task him with square peg round hole. It's exactly what Scott McTominay is as a DM. And that's what I said at the start of the season. No matter what midfield setup United have this season, you are looking at compromises. Compromises everywhere. Scott McTominay playing as a DM is a compromise. Man United playing two holding midfielders is a compromise. Man United playing 39-year-old Matic, whoever fucking old, he's old. Old Matic, compromise. Paul Pogba there without a proper DM alongside him, compromise. Can that compromise be solved in January? I mean, it could be. I hope it will be. Don't think it will be, but it could be. But until that point, there is no solution. You could talk about Van der Beek coming in there, but while he has the football IQ in possession, it's the question marks out of possession. That's what's keeping him. That's what's keeping him out of the team. Nick, nice to see you this morning, buddy. Why do we have to play 4-2-3-1 or 4-3-3 while a 4-4-2 diamond 3-5-2 formation or whatever formation could be the answer? We play Pogba, Fred, and Scott out of position now. Solskjaer is more loyal to the 4-2-3-1 than he is loyal to Fred and McTominay, isn't he? We always play that. You've seen us play the diamond. You've seen us play the diamond. I believe the first proper example we had of that was away at Spurs. Remember when we played Poch at Wembley, beat them 1-0. Rashford got the goal. Pogba with the ball over the top to Rashford, cracking little finish into the corner. We played with split strikers. Spurs didn't know what to do. He was fully expecting United to play a 4-2-3-1. We didn't. Solskjaer caught him by surprise and showed some real tactical intelligence, I think would be the best way to describe that. But as well as that, we've seen Manchester United play like a 3-4-3, where whenever we've sometimes played away from home, in certain games we want to go on the counter-attack, we play with three centre-backs, maybe Luke Shaw as the third centre-back. We have done a very big variety of formations. And you're right there in what you're saying, Nick, is that you are playing Fred out of position. Fred is a box-to-box midfielder. You're playing McTominay out of position. McTominay is a box-to-box midfielder. Legitimately, the only goddamn DM we've got at the club is Matic. Any other one is round peg, square holes. It's just that Matic is just too old. I don't like to think of Lindelof starting another game, says Little Big Man. Hey, look, I think Lindelof, honestly, I don't really get the Lindelof hate. I think he gets a little bit too much. Lindelof, for me, is actually a decent centre-back. He really is. When you play him alongside Maguire, they expose each other. Richard, you think we're going to get a DM? Right, you let me know. Let me know in the comments below. You type it in yes or no now. Do you think that we're going to see United sign a DM in January? Yes or no? Obviously, I'm going to be doing plenty of content around this in the build-up to January. But what's your gut saying? What's your gut telling you now? Gungshi there. Really good point. 400 people watching. Come on. Drop a like on the video. New studio. Moved in. I told you it's going to be getting bigger and better. And trust me, when this background looks good by the end of the week, it's going to look sexy AF. Can't wait to get the sofa in. Going to be getting, maybe do some interviews on there. I don't Plenty of things to go up and onwards. But let me know go down to the comments here and see what you think. T, I'll see you there, buddy. You're thinking we're going to sign one. Paul, you don't think so. Josh, you really hope so. Or you're saying yes. Carl, you're saying no. Gary, can see you there this morning, sir. You're saying no. Franklin, you're saying yes. Ian, you're thinking it yes. Let's have a look. Garner is out on loan. Yeah, Garner is definitely out on loan. Garner's... maybe I should try and speak to somebody from Nottingham Forest, see how he's getting on. But again, is Garner a proper DM? Or is Garner just another one of those central midfielders that you look at him and you go, he's got some attributes that could work as a defensive midfielder. I'm not sure whether he might fall into that category again. Gungshi, nice to see you here this morning. How's it out in Taiwan, my friend? The Premier League games coming up are tougher on paper, but I bet we'll perform better in them than we did against Villa and Everton. Varane being injured is a real worry, though. Now, that is the comment of the morning so far, because I 1,000,000% agree. And this is what I've said to people. I said, look, on paper, Manchester United had a phenomenally easy start to the season by comparison of how difficult it could have been. But I guarantee you, you're spot on there. We are definitely going to be playing better against Leicester, against Spurs, and against Liverpool. We always do, man. And I've said this before. Man United, when the chips are down, when the backs are against the wall with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, we turn it up. We did turn it up against Villarreal eventually. We turned it up in the first half against Everton, and then I didn't really understand that second half against Everton. But the most confusing and probably infuriating half I've seen so far under United this season. We've got Leicester coming up. We're away from home. We know our form away from home. And we also know what happens when Solskjaer's under pressure. The players typically sort of turn it up a level. And I think we'll do that. I'm not going to go here and say, look, lads, expect win, win, win. We've got Leicester. Then we've got Atalanta in the Champions League. Then we've got Liverpool. And then we've got Atalanta again, I think. And then we've got Spurs. Hell, man, the games are going to be tough coming up. But typically, United actually play better in these games. Weirdly enough, we don't have the mentality. In these big games, I think it's very easy for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer to get his players sort of up for it. Get that level up because, you know, we are playing Liverpool. We are playing Spurs. We are playing Leicester. The players, they don't have to be sort of coached into being ready for the game because they're semi-coaching themselves because we are playing in a big game. But in these matches where Ole Gunnar Solskjaer needs to inspire his players not to be complacent, to go out with that same energy, to go out with that same desire from the first whistle, we just don't seem to do it against these lesser teams. And I don't mean to say lesser teams, but on paper they are really. Abby, you're saying Rashi, Ronaldo, Cavani can be a deadly striker duo. Guess we can play 4-4-2, 4-3-1-2. It would be better. Now, Cavani and Ronaldo is something that quite a few people would like to see up front together. I'll be honest, I'll be very surprised if we ever see that at any point this season. I just can't see Ole Gunnar Solskjaer doing it. I don't know why. I just don't really think that we're going to see it. But moving on from we've spoken about in depth there. We had a big discussion about our midfield, defensive midfield. As I said, I love doing these. I love the community that's being built here. All the regulars coming in every single day. If you are new to United People's TV, please subscribe, get involved. It's been a very slow couple of weeks, and I'm so bored of international breaks. My word. We've got another one in November. They can just get fucked. Seriously, just let me play football. Not play football, watch football. But anyway, moving back to the international break, there was someone else who had a cracking international break. So we've obviously got Paul Pogba, played very well in central midfield for France. Martial got his hands on the medal, on the trophy. Didn't play in the final, but played a few minutes. Varane, hope his injury is not too much of a concern. We're looking at probably a minimum of a couple of weeks. And depending on it, you might get one or two more. I don't think it should, as long as it's not a grade 3 tear. And given the fact that he was walking on the pitch after, I don't think it will be a big tear. But it will be a tear of sorts. But let's go here and let's see who else had a good international break. And that lad down there did. Absolutely. Jadon Sancho. We've been waiting for this, man. We have been waiting for this. I did a video on Friday with my own message to Jadon Sancho. And I hope you watched it and I hope you enjoyed it because I actually really enjoyed doing that video. And I was like, look, man, Jadon Sancho has got the utter support of Manchester United fans, the utter complete support of United fans. I know it's been a tough start for him there, but Jadon Sancho this weekend, it might have been Andorra. I don't give a shit. He got 2 assists got into the team of the week there with a rating nearly at 9. Fantastic performance from Jadon Sancho in the international break. And I tell you what, we need that, man. We need Sancho to find his feet at Manchester United. Really, really do. You know, it's been a tough start to him for life back in Manchester. It really has been. I think Cristiano Ronaldo coming back it probably overshadowed him a little bit. But at the same time, I can't use that as just as a complete excuse for Sancho. I don't think Sancho will want to do that either. I think against Everton, we saw probably the most exciting few minutes of Sancho so far, where I actually saw Sancho running at a defender, squaring up and just skipping past him. That's what he did so often at Dortmund. And those lovely, cute passes in behind, like he did against Ronaldo. Ronaldo, obviously it was a tight angle for Ronaldo against Everton. But Sancho, it's going to be exciting. And it's what I said all along. Rashford on the left, Bruno in the middle, and Sancho on the right is by far and away the best front three that we're going to have behind Ronaldo and the most balanced front three. I might do a video later today. You drop a like on the video right now if you want me to do a video later today on what I see as the best Manchester United starting 11 with Marcus Rashford back in the team. Because I think I might. I might do it, but only if you drop a like on the video. So Greenwood on the bench then, says Nick. Look, man, I'm not saying bench Greenwood forever. But in the starting 11 right now, I want to see Jadon Sancho. Marcus, you can't sign £73 million Jadon Sancho and then not start him because Mason Greenwood's bagged a couple of goals this year. I'm sorry, but that's just not how it works. Dr. Marcus Rashford. Get it right, Sam. Jesus Christ. It doesn't matter. It does not matter that Greenwood's had a strong start to the year. You need 2 top-level footballers in every single position on the pitch if you were going to compete. If everything that you're going for this season. And that's what United have got on the right wing in Mason Greenwood and Jadon Sancho. Now, Mason Greenwood, and let's be fair here, Mason Greenwood had an absolutely blistering start to the year. But Mason Greenwood, he has also fallen off the pace a little bit in the last couple of games. And with Marcus Rashford coming back in, that's your guarantee. If Marcus Rashford started every game last year when he had a shoulder injury and an ankle ligament tear, I think it's obvious that Marcus Rashford is going to be starting every single game for Manchester United now that his ankle ligament tear has repaired itself and he's had shoulder surgery. All of his problems, his injury problems are behind him. And he's got that doctorate, that honorary doctorate, the youngest ever recipient of an honorary doctorate from the University of Manchester. An absolute inspiration to everybody. I've actually got his video. Maybe I'll pull it up now. His sort of speech that he... do you want to hear Rashford's speech that he gave after he received his doctorate? Let me know. Or I've dropped a super chat instead, Sam. Want 2 videos and a live stream today. Well, you've dropped a super chat now, so I've got to do it. So cool. I'll do a video on Marcus Rashford on that best 11. I'll get that out later on. It's going to be a busy day. It's always a busy day. But yeah, I wanted to show you this. Let me see. I'm not sure how good you'll be able to hear it. Where is it? It's up there. There he is. There's old Docky Marcus. Let me see how loud this will be. Yeah, that should be right, I think.
I just want to say a big thank you to everyone for being here today. This is something that's very important to me, and there's many reasons why. I go back to my times when I was in the academy. I remember the coaching staff. We always spoke about following in the footsteps of, great people that we looked up to, and it makes these moments like this that little bit more special. To be here in the presence of a great such as Sir Alex and those who played a huge role in my journey to where I am today is very special. I appreciate you all making the time for me today. To the University of Manchester, to my family, to Sir Alex, to Sir Bobby that can't be here today, to all my friends at the back, to my old coaches, I just want to say a massive thank you for being here today, and it's a great moment for me, and I'm happy to share it with you guys. So thank you.
Go on, Docky. There's Fergie. There he is. Go on, Fergie. Look at that. Dr. Rashford, MBE. Mate, what a bloke, man. What a bloke. You're still talking.
A nice feeling, and I think, doing things like this, it pushes the actual cause anyway, because it's obviously something that a lot of people watch, and then they end up getting involved and finding out more about what I'm doing off the pitch, and it has a positive effect on the people that I'm trying to help. So yeah, I'm obviously pleased to.
Mate, honestly, like, it makes me really proud to be a United fan to see what Rashford is doing with his current position. For him to be doing that at the age that it's very, very difficult for people in life to take themselves out of the present, out of their own situation, to sort of empathize with other people and to make some sort of substantial amount of change. But the work that he did by giving 2 fingers up to Boris and his government, with getting the free school meals extended over the lockdown periods, made such a difference to thousands of families who struggle financially, and to so many young kids. He is a fucking inspiration. He is an absolute... Well, he's a legend already. He is a legend already to so many people. And for Manchester United to have him as a sort of a role model inside our team, unbelievable. I'm really, really over the moon for him. And we all should be over the moon that he's going to be back in this team. He's an absolute... what a bloke. What a bloke. Josh, what are you saying here? Rashford's showing why we all love him. What a guy. Absolutely here. And I'm here working on my dissertation. Steffi, what's your dissertation on? Let me know. Fun fact, ladies and gents, my dissertation. So I did, my degree was history, and my dissertation was on the Munich air disaster. I did some social and economic research into the impact of this Munich air disaster, both on Manchester and Britain as well. So if you'd like to read that, drop me a DM on Twitter. I'll send you a link. I quite enjoyed it. Did some primary research, went up to Manchester, did a few interviews. I think I tried to interview Dennis Law, because Dennis Law was obviously part of the 68 team. So I wanted to speak to him about that, but I actually couldn't get that organized. Oh well, never mind. Let's head over. There's still other, as I said, it's a long show today. So enjoy it. Keep firing in your comments. Keep firing your super chats in, as always. It's been a weekend where a lot has happened, so we're still talking about it. Abby, let's have a look down here. Graham Souness, the real question is, what has Paul Pogba done to help Rashford achieve? Hey, look, Graham Souness, man. He must just be fuming sitting here watching Paul Pogba being successful. The racist bastard. Anyway, Diogo Dalot, he got an assist for Cristiano Ronaldo. Decent. He had a cracking pass to him as well during the game. So Dalot had a nice little international break. Ronaldo scoring again. Scores constantly. And what else is going to happen transfer-wise? Boo, 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 boo. Newcastle United. Give me all your goddamn money. Give me all your money. Yeah, buy Lingard in January. Woof. Have both of them. I would say like 50 mil. 50 mil for both, I think is fair. 50 mil, I'll take it, all right? No less. No less than 50. But Newcastle, obviously I spoke about it during my stream on Friday, the takeover. Newcastle are now richer than all 9 other clubs. The top 10 rich list in the Premier League, Newcastle number 1, they're worth more than 2 to 10 combined. They have an insane amount of money. Victorim, you're down there saying they also want Anthony Martial. Well, mate, you can take Martial too if you want, ladies and gents. Hey, look, right, I'll give you a deal. If you can give me, I think it's a cheap price, but because I like you, Newcastle, I'll do this. 150 million, you can have by Lingard, Van der Beek, and Martial. I mean, you can't say fairer than that. You cannot say fairer than that. That is cheap. Cheap. But it's only because I like you, Newcastle. As I said, I miss your rivalry. I want that rivalry back. I do think Newcastle, I mean, I'm excited for Newcastle. Hell, man. It's the way the Premier League goes. You can be pissed off about it if you want. You can't stop it. Oil money has taken over. Oil money took over when it was Roman Abramovich with an oligarch coming in and buying Chelsea. Wasn't such a moral outcry there. When City were bought by United Arab Emirates, wasn't such a big problem there. So, oh yeah, they can have Phil Jones in, and it can still be 150 million. I'm not going to charge you for Phil Jones. That would be unfair. That's like getting the free salt and pepper and like Burger King or something like that. You're not going to charge for that. Come on. Jay, I watch him from Australia in Queensland. Good to you. Steffi, what's your dissertation on? Let's have a look. My dissertation is on flesh and blood readers, embodied cognition, and psychogeographical writings. That's even difficult to read, let alone do it. Fair play to you, because you're doing something far more intelligent than I did at uni. But Newcastle, if you want to come sniffing around our players, man, please just come and buy them all. Come and buy them all. I wouldn't mind seeing I don't want to say like that. It's not. I wouldn't mind seeing the back of Jesse Lingard, but I'm looking in a sort of like a different direction. I'm looking forward. I'm looking ahead to what Manchester United need. And I'll tell you what, Newcastle, he might be the best player we've got, but if you want Fred, we can have a conversation about Fred as well. So as I said, it's only because I like you. It's only because I like you. If it was any other club, I wouldn't do it. But it's only because I like you. Something else that's happened over the weekend. As I said, so much stuff happened over the weekend. That's why I like doing these live streams. We can have a conversation. We can catch up on everything. It's conversation about a new contract for Harry Maguire. Come from the Mirror. Manchester United are preparing new contract talks for Harry Maguire and are ready to reward his status within the dressing room by improving the terms he is on, bringing him into line with new signings of Raphael Varane and Jadon Sancho. So what would your reaction be to that? And I'm seeing, I don't know whether this is true or not, so don't take this as gospel, but I'm seeing figures of around about 300,000 being bandied around for him. So what's your opinion on that? Do you think £300,000 a week would be too much for Harry Maguire? Do you think that would be fair enough for Harry Maguire? What do you think about that? You let me know in the comments below. Richard, I can see you join as a member. I think you already were one, maybe an upgrade. Big up to you this morning, sir. Nice to have you on board as part of the family. Family? I should have just said family. But 300 grand a week for Maguire. Let me see what you think about that in the comments. We should use Martial plus for the Haaland deal, mate. Yeah, Dortmund, if you want him, that would be nice. If you want that. 300 grand, a bit too much. Deserved, I think. I think Animesh, you're saying too much. Elijah, you're saying, is he worth it? Too much, and you're all pretty much agreeing too much, but at the same time, you're all pretty much agreeing there that Maguire deserves improved terms. And I think Maguire's sort of, as he showed during the Euros, Maguire is a very top class defender, especially when played alongside a partner that's correct. And Varane and Maguire, I'll be honest, I've been disappointed with it so far this season. I really had huge expectations about how much better Manchester United's defence would be. And we've just been... That's being polite. Blowing raspberries are polite for how crap our defence has been. But I've always said that our defence stems from the midfield. I think midfield is still where our issues lie, and it's why our defence is getting so overly exposed. But at the same time, they haven't quite been good enough. In my opinion, I don't know. 250, is there really that much of a difference between 250 a week and 300 grand a week? Harry Maguire deserves a new deal. I think he's proven that he's a very good player, that he will only continue to get better for Manchester United. And I'm happy to have him in my club. Simple as that. 300 grand a week, it might be quite a lot of money, but it's not that much money. I wouldn't ever really be too offended by how much a player earns, unless it blows it out the water. Because for a long time, De Gea didn't deserve to be on 375 grand a week. He does now, but Ronan with an absolutely rogue comment here. So I'm going to have to pull it up. Bailly and McTominay as a centre-back partnership. I don't know. Bailly and McTominay. Could you imagine that? Could you? No, I don't want to imagine that. I know people say, look, he has played centre-back for Scotland. Bailly and McTominay. Jesus. Come on, people. We're not that desperate, are we? Hell, I'd rather probably play Phil Jones there. Jeez. No, I don't think Bailly and McTominay will work in any way, shape, or form. Bailly is... I like Bailly, but Bailly should be sold. Man United should be selling Bailly. Man United should be selling Phil Jones. And Man United should be replacing both of them with competent centre-backs that we can rely on week in, week out if we're going to compete, really. All right? Simple as that. Shaw, Lindelof, CB, Tellez left back. Oh, my God. There's some mad comments coming in today. Everyone's feeling a bit chipper after the weekend. What else have we got? We've spoken about Rashford. As I said, there's so many talking points I've run through today. Is there anything else you want me to talk about that I haven't really spoken about today? Because maybe I've missed some stuff. I've spoken about the majority of it. Obviously, the biggest talking point, and we're all sitting here crossing our fingers, that Raphael Varane's injury is nothing more than maybe a couple of weeks. I think we can basically rule him out of playing against Leicester. So we're going to be seeing Boy, I don't know what centre-back partnership we'll see against Leicester. You'll probably see Harry Maguire. I think he'll be fit enough to play. I know he's been missing for a little while, but Maguire strikes me as I think United will risk him, and I think Maguire will probably risk himself because Varane's missing. I think it'll be Maguire and Lindelof against Leicester. I don't think that'll be too much of a problem. But I want Lindelof when we're playing. Not Lindelof. I want Varane when we're playing Liverpool, because Liverpool right now, they're looking a bit tasty. Jaya saying, how do you feel Sancho's going? Is he one of those that he knew he'll need a season to settle? I don't think that at all. As I said in my video that I did on Friday, if you look at how Sancho played last season with Dortmund, I think it took him 8 games to score his first goal in the Bundesliga. And then he finished on like 16 goals and 8 assists. He finished the season on great numbers. Sancho will not need a full season to settle, but he's needed a few more weeks than anybody would have expected. But I'm not worried about it at all, man. As soon as Sancho just breaks that duck, as soon as he does it, man, a goal and assist, boom, man, we're going to see some sexy, sexy football from him. Any news on a Pogba contract situation? As it stands, Josh, no. I don't think there is at the moment. As we all know, Paul Pogba can leave on a free in the summer, and more importantly, and sooner, he can agree pre-contract terms with teams outside of the Premier League in January. It's only a couple of months away. I've said it all along. It's going to be a side story, a side circus until January, and Manchester United have to make sure that we are in the best possible position in the league and in the Champions League come January, because we want Paul Pogba to sign a new deal. If we're knocked out of the Champions League and we're lying in like 4th in the Premier League and like 10 points off first, do you really think Paul Pogba is going to sign a new deal? I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. I can see people wanting to get on the map, as has been pointed out by a couple of the mods. The map, we kicked that for Fridays because people got too pissed off because I got so excited with the map that I spent like 5 minutes on the map every single day. What? The map's exciting. It is exciting, but we'll keep that for the interactive Fridays. It's always better to keep it that way. Hassan, I can see you. Look at that. Nice to see you there, buddy. Welcome aboard. Well, let me know where you're watching from. I'll give you a shout out. If you've got any comments you'd like to say, I'll give you a shout out too. Mengi can be our 4th centre-back. Yeah, Teddy Mengi. Is he on loan at Derby? He is on loan at Derby, as you're pointing out there, John. I think Mengi's a cracking defender. Really, really good. I see him very similar to Roshan Williams. If you remember ever watching him with the under-18s, he strikes me as a similar player to him. I was also equally as excited by Axel Tuanzebe. Let's see how he gets on at Villa. But I'd be very surprised now if Tuanzebe comes back and has a career at United. I think there's only a handful of players. I think you can point at Lingard being one of them. There's only a handful of players who ever really go out on more than one loan spell and come back to United and have a career at United. We'll see. And given the choice, would you keep Pogba and just get a CDM, or Pogba goes and we may be getting Neves and Basuma? My absolute ambition is to keep Paul Pogba, and sign a true, proper. I mean, but that's the problem, like, because what we've seen really by all the players we're getting linked with, the Camavinga, your Neves, we weren't really linked with Basuma. Tchouaméni, you're looking at more central midfielders with really good defensive attributes rather than a pure defensive midfielder. We haven't really been linked with Ndidi. We haven't really been linked with anybody like that, anybody of that ilk, who's like a pure Matic type player. We've been linked with more central midfielders who can operate, basically do a bit of everything, but more naturally, like 70%, like 70-30, like a split fridge freezer. Like 70% defensive midfielder, but 30%, oh yeah, you can run the ball forward, rather than just like a straight, tall, 100% fridge freezer. Remember, that's what Maguire used to get called. I don't think we'll sign a pure defensive mid like that. I think we will go for someone like Tchouaméni or Neves. And good God, man, Neves, man, still pisses me off. Still really pisses me off that we didn't sign Neves. Chris, you're saying maybe next season, most likely the season after. Sorry, I clicked the wrong comment there anyway. People are against offering Paul Pogba 500 grand a week. It will cost us a lot more to get someone of his caliber to replace him. Get him a proper partner to play in midfield. And it's one thing, or you're spot on there to mention, when it comes to Manchester United and replacing players as well, ladies and gents, remember, we don't really do it. It took us 12 years to replace Ronaldo with Ronaldo. Man United, typically, if we sell big players, we don't particularly go out, spend that money on an actual adequate replacement. It's just not the case. It's something that the club never really does. I always get a bit frustrated about that. So when on paper we can all speak about that, oh yeah, it's dead simple, man. Get rid of Paul Pogba, get a replacement in. Can you really get a replacement in for Paul Pogba? That's going to be difficult. Really, really difficult. I would say almost irreplaceable. CJ, hey Sam, almost missed you. Sounds like I was missing the January talk. Hey, you missed a good show today, just CJ. Missed a really good show. It's been a busy one because it was the international break. We're speaking about Varane, that injury. It looks like, fingers crossed, Varane will probably miss a couple of weeks. I think the first game we're going to see him back for is Liverpool. And if he's fit to play Liverpool, lovely. If not, we might be missing him for Liverpool too. That'll be a problem. We spoke about Paul Pogba's excellent performance in the UEFA Nations League final against Spain, alongside Tchouaméni, which is something that a lot of people would love to see. Spoke about whether he can do that for United. We spoke about Scott McTominay. We spoke about I got it right this time, Marcus Rashford. We spoke about Harry Maguire. We spoke about Jadon Sancho. Because there's so many talking points. And as you can see, nice to see you there, Craig, joining in right at the end. Like the new look. This is the new studio. I've moved flat now, so we're all sorted. We're all settled here. You wait until it looks better, but it's going to look sexy as hell behind there. We're going to get a lovely new sofa coming in there. Got some new artwork to go on the wall, some vinyls. I won't tell you what vinyls they are, but they're vinyls that mean a lot to me. Well, what I've had growing up. It's going to be exciting. I can't wait to see it. But this is V1. V2 will come later this week. Victor, what are you saying there, my friend? Sam, did you see United might be fit for Pjanic again? His loans finished at Besiktas. Would you get him for free, Pjanic? Oh, my God, come on, people. We can do better than that. We can do better than that, can't we? Come on. That's what I'm saying. If you're looking at people like that, people can get on a free. It's just more compromises in midfield. I don't want compromises. We haven't compromised on the centre-back we signed. We haven't compromised on the right winger we signed. Why should we compromise on the central midfielders we signed? I don't know. I hope it's not Oasis says, well, he might be disappointed. If there isn't a Stone Roses vinyl, I'm out. Whoa. We'll see here. Someone's going to be pissed off, though. Will I be doing a predicted lineup for Leicester? Yes, I will be doing. There's plenty of videos going out this week. Because you've asked for it in the comments here, I was considering I was going to do it today, but sorry, I will do it today for you. I'm going to do my personal best starting 11. If everyone's fit, Gary Neville, I did his last week, and there was a few positions where I didn't particularly agree with. I'll do my formation and my starting 11. I'll do that later today. Maybe I can get it out for 1 o'clock. If not, just a little bit later. But I've enjoyed it today. Thank you very much for joining in. I hope you enjoyed the new look. I hope it sounds okay. If there's anything you think I can improve on, I think I might move the lights a little bit further back. It's a bit too dark back there. A little bit moody. Nice red lights down there. But I've enjoyed it. And the stream, the internet worked. That was the most important thing. The internet worked okay. But thank you very much for joining in today. Thank you very much all for Nick, for everybody who sent in your super chats and your questions. It was a really nice, engaging conversation. Varane, I'm concerned. I think he's going to be missing for Leicester. I think he's going to be missing for Atalanta. He might be back for Liverpool. Probably looking at Maguire and Lindelof to play Leicester. I'll do my Leicester predicted 11 and preferred 11 later on this week. But you let me know on Twitter. My DMs are open at @SamPeoples_. Any videos you'd like me to look at this week, you let me know. The international break, 1 week is done. 1 more week to go. Nearly over. It's nearly over. I tell you what, it's been a long one. It's been a long one. The sound is good. I need a lava lamp. What is this? 1994, mate. I like lava lamps, though, to be fair. They just get a bit hot, a bit dangerous. Maybe I'll get one in, though. But yeah, anybody else, if you've got any ideas, I'll tell you what I was thinking about doing. You let me know in the comments now, actually. I was thinking about, I might pay for a PO box and give you guys the address. And if you wanted anything to be on set, be involved in it, maybe you can send stuff in. Do you think that'd be a good idea? You let me know in the comments below. But as I said, thank you very much for all your comments today. Thank you very much for all the interaction. I've really enjoyed it. And I look forward to see what's coming next for United People's TV. As I said, any money that you've given me in the super chats or the members, and there's so many of you, it's all getting put back into making the channel bigger and better. I'm not just running away getting pints myself. Although I had too many pints on Friday and I hurt my knee. Chris, you're saying green screen. I've got a green screen. You know what the hilarious thing is? The green screen is now not wide enough to fit this. So I'm going to have to somehow buy another green screen, because the other green screen I've got, I think it's too small. Or I'm going to have to actually put you into, might have to time you out here, mate. Getting a bit weird, aren't you? Nick, thanks again, Sam. Top content. Have a great day. Thank you very much, buddy. Honestly, thank you all very much for joining in. Make sure you're here tomorrow. I'll be here Monday to Friday, 9:30 a.m. As always, I'll do that video today on Rashford and the best 11. But thank you very much. As I said, if you want to hit me up on Twitter DMs, you know they're open at @SamPeoples_. I'll speak to you soon. Thank you very much for joining in. I hope you had a cracking weekend. Let's look ahead to what should be a busy week for United. And then we've got Leicester. We need to win.